Hi, I'm Corey Leaton from JML News, and I'm here with...
And I'm queer.
Sorry, I just guffed. Guys, I'm
I got a big loogie.
Guys, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, right. As Corey said,
John looks a bit dead.
This is our very first JML Radio broadcast, and I am Corey's co-commentator, and he just took a crap somewhere. Right.
It really does stink on the floor there, mate.
Woo! Right. As you can hear, that's Joshua Muir. Hello. He does all the interviews we will get with some special guests. Also, we do have a special guest. Actually, we do have a special guest tonight, right? Minimark is asleep. We can't, tell you what he's doing right now. Hey! Go back to sleep! Right, okay.
What we're going to talk to you about today is, we're going to talk about the new JML News, we're going to have a special guest, and, yeah, that's...
Well, tell you about... What? God! I got a problem with my face?
Well, you haven't had a shave lately, you know.
Ah, obviously!
Yeah, because he's the one that needs to shave.
And
that's Jeff, by the way. He's just the guy that laughs in the corner.
Yeah.
Jeff, you idiot! Get out of here!
You're fat and ugly and nobody likes you. Seriously.
Jeffrey, come on!
Seriously,
get out!
Did you have
get
to
out!
leave that on the floor?
Come on, get out! Get out!
God damn you, Jeff!
Get out now! Get out right now! Get out!
Man!
Okay, Jeff's out. Right.
I'm not surprised he didn't have a fan attached to his backside so I can whiff it around all the way.
No, Jeff, I will not let you in.
Right, anyway.
Okay. Right, okay, I think we should start talking about the
JML News.
The JML News, right? Right, the reason we are doing this radio program is because, we always film each other, when we're outside, but first of all, we couldn't be bothered today, and second of all, it's raining. Very, very, very much. Okay then. Right.
John, there's someone downstairs. Who is it?
It's Jeff.
Yeah, it's Jeff. Jeff's downstairs.
Come on, Corey. It's Jeff. Right? Corey, Jeff's downstairs. Jeffrey, stop vandalizing the house, okay? Stop vandalizing the house.
Anyway.
I think we have a caller. So let's see who we've got.
That was the wrong one.
Sorry about that, folks. That's our ringtone. Let's have our first caller then.
Who was the first?
We have a caller. Let's see who it is.
Yeah, we just played that chop.
Apparently, Homer Simpson is not getting the message.
But that's our guest.
I know, but we haven't brought the interviewer on to call him.
No, I thought it was Donald Duck.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You said Donald Duck was the caller.
Yes. Right, technical difficulty. We're bringing Donald Duck up on the line. Hello, Donald.
Why would you...
Oh my God, I feel so good. Oh yeah.
Donald.
Oh, slow down.
Bad Donald, no. No, this is...
How you doing?
PG program. Stop it, Donald. Damn you.
Get him off the line.
Bad Donald.
I got rid of him. Oh, God. Okay.
She's trying to sleep.
Shut up. God, Donald's just not in the usual thing today.
Donald's kind of
Just hit it.
got some mental problems at the moment, so excuse him,
Okay,
folks.
to get us off that topic, right, we actually have a special guest tonight.
And
it is Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And now we're going to call him because unfortunately he hasn't called us. So we're going to bring our interviewer, Josh, to call him.
Alright, here we go. Mr. Schwarzenegger?
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks, Mr. Schwarzenegger.
Who are you?
I'm Josh Muir. I'm a JML News interviewer.
Affirmative.
Yes, that is affirmative. Now, what I wanted to ask you was...
Excuse me, I have a few more questions if you don't mind.
No, Arnold. I'm the interviewer. I ask you the questions.
Negative.
No, don't mess around with me, Arnold.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Dude, what kind of question is that? I'll come down that phone and kick your... Sorry, I have to refrain from my language because unfortunately I cannot swear.
Thomas Aquinas.
What? Well, that doesn't even make any sense. I couldn't even comprehend that, you idiot.
12-gauge autoloader.
Yeah, don't be telling me what kind of equipment you have in your bathroom, you little girl. Huh?
Who are you?
Don't ask me that.
Stop whining.
I'm not whining. I'm making a genuine interview here.
Get your mother, please.
Why do you want to talk to my mother?
You lack discipline.
Yeah, I like discipline.
Stop it.
No, I won't.
I'm a cop, you idiot.
No, you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, governor of California, actually.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm actually quite good, thanks. Yeah.
Who is your daddy?
Oh, come
and
on.
what does he do?
Not again.
Cooked up a story and dropped us in a meat grinder.
Why would you want to drop anybody into a meat grinder, you fruitcake?
Hello, cutie pie.
Okay, I understand.
Nice night for a walk.
What do you want? What, you want to ask me on a date, or do you want to get on with this interview? What's up with you, man?
Affirmative.
Okay. You're kind of freaking me out, Schwarzenegger, dude.
You idiot.
No, you're an idiot.
Okay.
Stop it.
No, I won't stop it.
First, I would like to just get to know you.
I don't want to get to know you. I really don't want to get to know you.
I'll be back.
Okay, and we've lost Arnie.
Oh, and he cut out. What a shame. Anyway, we are now going to do a bit of JML news. Talking. Hello, yeah, that's good. Now, our specialist on the what's
Things to talk about is Mini Mark. Wake up, you piece of crap.
Sleepy time is
Moo! Moo! Moo!
Thank you, everybody. I'm here to talk about our video, JML Start Goats. All those people that have been tuned into that video, I got hit in the ear. Just saying. Okay, now we're talking about the new games coming out for the PS3.
But you need to talk about JML news first.
No. JML news.
How about you do JML news first and then do the games? Yeah.
Just shut the hell up, please.
Okay.
JML News are really looking forward for the new Bad Company 2 coming out in January.
No, just
March! March!
And unfortunately, Mark just got hit in the balls.
Mini Mark can't talk.
Oh, sorry, he came back.
Who's that Arnie in the line? Get him off!
Get away!
Well, I've got news for you. You are mine now. You belong to me.
I don't belong to you.
Off the line! Off the line!
No problemo.
Oh, yeah, go away.
Off the line! Please, you can get the army on us.
He's gone.
There's problem with governors nowadays.
Give me your address there.
No, we're not giving you our address. Go away.
Get him off the line!
He's gone.
Go away.
He should be gone.
We are now going to talk about JML News.
Balls!
Which is an Arnold Schwarzenegger free zone.
Alright, don't worry, he's gone.
Right, okay.
Okay. What we're going to talk about is...
I know that you people haven't seen our first movie yet, but it doesn't matter because we never going to show you.
You are an amateur.
Okay, go on, Cara.
Right, okay. First of all...
I'm finished now, right.
So, carrying on with our thing, we have, unfortunately, due to the lack of time on YouTube, we only have about a minute left.
Alright, sorry about that, guys, but, yeah. Well, our first movie is pretty good, but we're never going to show you. Our second movie is going to be even better, and it's coming, like, in, March or whatever.
It's just coming out sometime 2010 or 2011. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Okay, people. Okay, we're going to leave you with a very, very nice, peaceful song.